So I'm here with Matthew Frank, the CEO of TRX, which is a new company that's looking to change the face of distribution with one of the more disruptive and innovative applications that we've seen in television in the last few years. So Matthew, effectively, we're talking about a new way of selling content. Tell us how it works.
I think that the position we came from was having been distributors at both RDF and Zodiac for 20 odd years. We kind of understood the way the market was operating and a lot of the problems associated with the market for both buyers and sellers. And I think fundamentally we felt that it was a market that was probably stuck in the past. That in the good old bad old days when there weren't many broadcasters and there weren't many buyers in the market and there wasn't that much content being traded, the system for buying and selling kind of worked in those days. But if you roll the clock forward to where we are today, where there are many more distributors, there are literally thousands of buyers in the world, trying to do deals together in the old way just doesn't work because it's very slow, very labour intensive and very inefficient. So fundamentally what we want to do with TRX was bring a speed and efficiency to the market that I think the market is crying out for.
So in effect, this is an app that a buyer has sitting with them and a distributor has in his or her pocket, and you can do deals in real time effectively.
Absolutely. The idea is that it is an interface where buyers and sellers can meet. Buyers can find content quickly and easily and they can make offers through the app. Sellers can then respond. Sellers can also offer all their content all of the time through the app. Again, it's a very kind of efficient way of getting content out, particularly to kind of difficult regions around the world. But it allows them to do deals quickly and efficiently online and right from end to end. So you go from discovery of content, negotiation of the deal, right through to the signature of the contract, all within the app.
Now, you've been developing the app for a number of years. We're moving towards the point where it should be widely distributed. How's the process been so far, and sort of what's the next step?
Well, first and foremost, I'd say it has been a fantastic experience for all of us who have worked here, that we've been able to use our skills as distributors and our knowledge of the market to try and create a brand new product, because no one's ever done one of these before. So we've been on a very steep learning curve and we have made mistakes along the way, not surprisingly. But it's been a real kind of journey of discovery. Intellectually, it's been incredibly stimulating. And we've had to kind of box clever as we've gone along. Through our testing and user testing, we've learnt and adapted the system, so we've reiterated it many times to the point where we have now reached a stage where the product is in sufficiently good shape to go to market, and we feel that it will do most deals in the market for most buyers and sellers.
Certainly the initial reaction that you've had over the last couple of years has been largely very positive, and you've attracted some major investors, and interestingly from some pretty traditional TV companies, as you might say, Channel 4 and Sky. What's been the relationship with the industry, and how's that grown since you've launched TRX?
Well, I'd say that initially when we went out to the market and started talking to both buyers and sellers about the system, one of the things that gave us confidence that we were heading in the right direction was pretty much everybody we spoke to, with one or two minor exceptions, kind of agreed that, you know, if we could bring a product to market that would bring this kind of efficiency that everyone was desiring, it would be a good thing for the industry. So we had the backing of a lot of our kind of friends in the industry who said, you know, if you can pull this off, we'll all love you forever. So that was great to have that kind of support. And I'd say also the support of a lot of the early adopters who put content onto TRX in the early days, and who were prepared to kind of put their names to the app as well. Huge support from those people, which was massively appreciated. And slowly but surely that snowball started to grow, so that by the time we go to market with this, we're going to have north of 15,000 hours of content on the site from about 70 different distributors. We've got about 400 registered buyers all ready to go, and more signing up every week. So great kind of groundswell support from the industry for what we're doing.
And you've said to me that the idea is to bring down the whole sort of process of doing a deal from start to finish, from what can take years, or up to a year, maybe sometimes
Yeah.
more if it's a particularly difficult deal, down to just a couple of months. And that would be quite revolutionary for the industry, because you're talking about rights being traded at an extremely quickened pace.
Indeed, I'd say that is our sole kind of goal with TRX, is to bring an efficiency to a market by applying technology. And it's happened in so many other walks of life. And we have just had the kind of resources and time to develop something in this industry where we're applying that technology to bring that speed and efficiency that will allow deals to happen. Even 2 months for us feels like quite a long time. We'd like to get it down in due course to a matter of weeks rather than months that deals are being completed. And what that allows is it allows salespeople to become better salespeople. It allows them to do more deals in the time they have available to them, so that they're able to process more and more deals through a system like TRX rather than the way they do it at the moment. Their bandwidth is severely limited by the length of the deal process.
And will buyers and sellers still need to attend as many markets if they are using the TRX app in the correct way?
What we're clear with people about is when they come onto TRX is that we are not a marketing tool for them. Whilst we will curate content to buyers through the site, etc., based on what they're searching for and what their preferences are, when you have a new show that you want to go and show the world how marvellous it is, then yes, you're going to have to go down those more traditional marketing routes of advertising, attending trade fairs like MIP and MIPCOM, etc. And I think we also firmly believe that television buying and selling is still very much driven by people, and that there is still that need to connect face to face on occasions through the year. But I'd say the problem at the moment is you go to one market in April and you're still talking about the same deals in October. That's what we're trying to fix, is the bit between the markets, so that when you meet in Cannes in April, by the time you see that buy, your deals are well closed and everything's been delivered and you're on to the next set of deals by then.
So what, in terms of a launch, in terms of a full launch, we've been in a beta stage for a while now. What's the kind of process for the next year or so?
Yeah.
Where should we be then?
So as you say, we have been beta testing for about kind of 9 months, and that started last kind of September. So it's longer than 9 months, actually, more like a year. We're now going to a wider rollout where we will be engaging with more and more buyers and more sellers coming onto the system. In the beta phase, we were open in Central Eastern Europe and Asia. Now we're going to be opening to the wider world. And in the build-up to that process, we have been building up our buyer lists in all those territories using a network of consultants. So we now, on our database, we actually have about 8,000 buyer contacts. Now, some of those are tiny platforms that may not be interesting to sellers, but it just shows that there are a lot of people in the market. Now, trying to deal with 8,000 buyers as an individual is impossible. So it kind of illustrates the need for a system like ours.
So as you say, you've got around 15,000 hours of content. That means a lot of partners. Are there any deals that you can tell us about?
So you're right, we've got about 70 distributors on the site, mainly US and UK distributors, just because we happen to know them better. But we are in discussion with many others. And rather excitingly for us, one of the bigger distributors who we've been talking to for a long while is BBC Worldwide. And we're announcing a partnership with them where they're going to be trialling TRX in a couple of regions around the world, where they're going to be using it to service particular types of buyers in those markets. And what's great for us is that the BBC, as a result of that, small buyers, big buyers, they all want to buy the new content. So as a result of that, the BBC is loading its entire catalogue onto TRX, which is obviously fantastic news for us.
People have attempted systems like this in the past, and there are some others on the market. What actually sets TRX apart in terms of the app functionality and the opportunity you're offering?
Yeah, there are other systems out there in the market, but I'd say what sets us apart from the rest of the market is two things. One is the ability to see availabilities for content on the site, and secondly, the ability to do a deal from end to end. So you can find content, negotiate the deal and sign the contract on TRX. As far as we're aware, there's no other system at the moment that can do that. Most of the other systems that are in our space are more screening rooms where you can find content and view it, but when you want to do a deal, then you have to go offline and you're back in the old world, which we believe is the slow world. Whereas if you stay on TRX, you can not only find content, negotiate it, but you can do the whole deal there from beginning to end.
Creating something like this is disruptive and it's new, and that, I guess, Matthew, presents its own challenges, and I'm assuming you've faced some in the last couple of years.
Without doubt. I mean, when you're introducing something new to an industry that's used to doing it one way for the last 40 years and you're asking them to change it, inevitably there is some people who find that difficult. And I'd say the areas where we've had kind of issues is, I'd say, salespeople, until they realise how TRX works, they're worried that it could come and take their jobs. But once they see how TRX works and it relies on salespeople still negotiating deals through the system, what they do on the system is controlled entirely by them, what they offer through the system is controlled by them. We're merely a facilitator in this relationship. And as I say, you still need salespeople to negotiate those deals. I'd say the other challenge is, because we're offering instant avails through the system, that requires you to put your avails onto TRX. Now, initially people were doing it manually, but as we've got closer and closer to launch, we're now working with distributors to interface, building a technical bridge called an API that allows them to automatically upload their rights avails from their rights management system direct into TRX. So it's a live feed and it's automatic, and that saves the distributors an awful lot of work when they're coming onto the system.
So, plenty achieved so far, plenty to do, but it certainly seems like it's a really interesting story, one that we'll continue to follow at TBI. Matthew, thank you for your time.
Pleasure.